Hi, and welcome to The Examined Life. And I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't clicked on the notification icon, which is the little bell next to the subscribe button, please do that now, so that you can get notification when I do post new videos. Now, I haven't posted a lot of videos recently because I came to I discovered that YouTube is suppressing my content, and I was struggling and getting really frustrated. I had actually uploaded 2 videos a while back, between the best video I did, and so at least 2 other videos I had uploaded, and then I just kind of made them private after a while because I wasn't sure they weren't gaining views and they weren't gaining me subscribers, but it was more because I realized that YouTube was suppressing the content. And please feel free, if you feel that a video is interesting enough to share with people, please do. You have my permission to share. But yeah, I just came to the realization that people need to click on the notification button so that when I do upload a video, that they do get the notification that I've uploaded something, so they can at least watch it. So I think that it's possible that maybe YouTube is suppressing my content in terms of the stats, maybe of the views that I had on those videos. But one video was a sequel, or a part 2 to the my most popular video, which was the narcissistic therapists. And I had put a narcissistic therapist part 2 on there. And what I did was I connected it at the ending, in those little tiles that they have for, here's another video that you might be interested in, kind of a thing. Well, I had put it in the second spot. I only had 2 tiles up, and I put it in the second spot to link to it so that people could continue on with the story, with that particular topic. And I set it up that way. And when I came back a couple of days later, I was wondering why it wasn't getting any views. I figured, people would just continue on. It seems that YouTube had switched it out with another video of mine. And then what I did is I put it again, but on the opposite side. And a couple of days later, I came back, and again, it was switched out with another video. So that's kind of blatant to me that YouTube was literally going into my account and changing stuff around. And that's, I realize it's their platform, but still, it's worrisome that they would feel that my content would be that damaging to something or whatever by telling the truth about my experience. Isn't that interesting? But anyway, today's topic is triangulation. And what I'm going to talk about is what triangulation is and how narcissists use it. And I'll probably give you an example of what I'm talking about, okay, and how they play people off other people. So let me give you this little diagram that I made. Okay, so triangulation, basically by definition, has to do with 3 things. And in the case of how narcissists use it, there are many ways that they use this particular strategy or technique or whatever to mess with the target. So basically what you have is there has to be 3 elements involved in order for a narcissist to triangulate. So you have the narcissist, you have the target, which is usually the receiver of the abuse and who's having their mind messed with. And then there's something else. Now, notice the question mark, meaning that this could actually be anything. A person, it could be a thing, it could be a topic, it could be something that the target likes, maybe. It's just, but how triangulation is sometimes used is just to get an emotional rise from the target, or just to poke at them, and it could be very superficial. It can also be a game. I mean, it's part of a game that they play with the target. Okay, and from the narcissist standpoint, the target is a plaything. Okay, if you're the survivor of narcissistic abuse, you were a plaything of the narcissist, and they liked poking at you. So they would use other things, people, places, memories, anything that will that can poke at you to get an emotional reaction from you. And it could be something just to poke a fight. It can also be used as a way of creating bonding, meaning my ex, for example, would do the breakup makeup type of thing, and then my ex always would have a hurt feelings, because it was something that I said or something that I did. And then after it was all over, let's make up and let's have sex, and that kind of the intensity of the makeup sex. So they would pick a fight just so they could make up. And every time they do that, what she was doing was basically and so whenever they do that, basically what they're doing is what do you call that? They're trying to bond you to them with like a trauma bond of the breakup and then the makeup. And when they do that, you're supposed to actually bond even closer to them. If you become aware of that, then you might become desensitized to it, which was what I was becoming. I was becoming desensitized to that particular thing because it was a game, and I could see that through it that it was a game. Now, there's another part of triangulation that involves, that could involve multiple targets. Okay, but I'll give you one example of a triangulation where the narcissist uses another person to gaslight you. Okay, so let me give you an example in my own personal experience. I met this many years ago, over 20 years ago now, I believe. I met this lady on the internet, and she wanted to hang out and be buddies and go to movies and things like that, and hiking and stuff. And so I thought, okay, well, since I had the time, I think I was a student back then, so I had the time. Anyways, she had a roommate who was, her roommate was a lesbian, and the roommate had fallen in love with her. Okay, and the poor roommate, by the way, the lady was the narcissist. The roommate was not the narcissist. The roommate was closer to being a codependent or a borderline. And of course, this is all in retrospect now. But the woman who I'm talking about she was a full-blown narcissist. I'm how do I say this? I know I'm not a professional to make that call, but the behavior was so consistent, okay, to where in retrospect, at the time I didn't know that, but in retrospect, knowing now what I know, it was extreme. Okay, the behavior was narcissistic, and it was extreme to the point where I couldn't say that she wasn't a narcissist, if you know what I mean. And I'm whenever I say somebody is a narcissist, it's because the behavior was very extreme. Okay, and narcissism is on a spectrum, by the way, just to let you know that. So everybody is a narcissist on some level, and there is such a thing as healthy narcissism too. But when you get into that area way high up on the spectrum where it's malignant, it's malicious, it's just, they want to look down on you. It's just, they just reek of it. At that point, I mean, how do you deny it? I mean, I admit I'm not a psychotherapist. Okay, I'm not a psychotherapist, but it reeks of it. What can I say? I'm sorry, but it was there was just so much of it, and it was chronic. So that's why I'm gonna say the person was a narcissist. Okay, so but what she did was, when the first time she invited me over to her house, and I had met the roommate. We passed by each other, and I just said hi, and she said hi, and we went to the lady's, the woman's computer, and we were looking for a particular activity to do. I think it was maybe we were looking for movie times or something like that, and so I mean, we went to the day after all that happened. She calls me up on the phone, and she said, my roommate said that you gave her the dirtiest look when you came in the room. And at that time, of course, I was not knowledgeable about gaslighting, but I know for a fact that I did not give her a dirty look. I was very neutral. I had no feelings about her one way or another. I was neutral in how meeting her. And I pretty much think I smiled at her, but I didn't give her a dirty look. There was no reason to. I know my own behavior. But the fact that now that I'm looking back on it, I realize that she was gaslighting me. And what she was trying to do was she was trying to drive a wedge between me and the roommate to create drama, basically. So that's the where this little question mark here is when they're using, say, a person to be the third object. Okay, so there was a relationship between her and the roommate, who was the target, and I was the question mark. I came in and I was being used. So that this particular question mark part, this particular object, it doesn't have to know that they're being used. They don't have to be a part of the relationship between the narcissist and the target. Okay? It's a mind screw between the narcissist and the target. And the question mark, the object here, is being used. So I was being used to hurt the target. And I didn't know why, because later on I found out that the target was in love with the narcissist. Okay? And I guess she was trying to get her to be jealous or whatever, and anyways, but I didn't have any feelings either way for anything here. It was just, I was looking for a pal to hang out with, and that was it. But anyways, when it comes to everyday things, narcissists can use triangulation simply with comments, nasty comments, or just comments to make you say, kind of even almost like dog whistling. I don't know if you guys know what dog whistling is, but when they make a comment about something that only you and the narcissist know something about, but it irks the target, So let me think. For example, let's say that the narcissist is the male, the target is the female, and they're sitting in a restaurant someplace, and they see there's a woman who walks in, and she's dressed, nicely or sexy or whatever. And then the narcissist will look at this woman and say, wow, she really wears that dress well. Okay. And then this particular object, the person, okay, who is being used here, just walks by. They're not part of the relationship in any way, shape, or form. But how does the target feel about that? That he's looking at another woman, number one. That he's saying, okay, but maybe let's say that this target here has the same dress as this woman who passed by. He said, well, you just said that she looks good in that dress. What about me? I've worn that dress before too, or something similar to it. Why would you notice that? You know, so it's that type of thing where they're getting into the issue. They find the target's issue and they'll get into it by using third parties or objects or things to tick them off. You know, but that's the use of triangulation in a very superficial way, kind of. But it's those little things, okay? It's repeated and little things that kind of chip away at the target's self-esteem and even their sanity, you know, because the gaslighting is designed to basically drive you insane. But because you're always questioning whether, well, did I do that or did I leave this here? You know, and create, if you're jealous, if the target is a jealous type, you know, they'll get into that. They'll find what your weakness is, and then they'll try to exploit it. You know, oh, she's sensitive about her weight. Oh, she's sensitive that, you know, she might lose me to another woman. Yeah, let's play that. Yeah, kind of thing. And then they'll use objects of that kind to irritate the target. And as well as I say, gaslight them too, as with that situation that I just described with the girl, saying that I gave her a dirty look so that she could draw a wedge between me. And I later on found out that before I realized that she was a narcissist, that she was trying to put a wedge between me and the roommate, because she didn't want us comparing notes. It was so that she could keep us apart and create drama between us, to try and get me to feel like this was an opponent of some kind, or that I shouldn't be talking to her, like I'm not going to talk to you, kind of a thing. And then what happened was she had another friend who came in, so there was another one, and at that point, I had already caught on to there was something going on, okay? But the other one who came in she was a flying monkey, seriously. She fell in love with this chick, you know. But anyways, so I chose to leave the picture because it was just too freaking weird for me at that time. And I wasn't even that knowledgeable about narcissism, you know. I just thought this chick was really weird, you know. And we went to a bar once, and the roommate came along, and I sat down and I talked with the roommate. We were sitting out while she was talking to the new supply, and while she was what was it now? No, it was this. I remember now. We went to this bar, and she was trying to work me over and gaslight me some more. And I was trying to figure her out because I just didn't get why she would do what she does. And we went to this bar, and she felt compelled to lecture me. Okay, so we were talking, and then I don't know if she said I got upset or whatever. This is such a long time ago, but she pulled me out and she said, "Let's go outside and talk." And I said, "Okay, fine." Now the funny thing, okay, I'm going to bring this up again later at another time. She was actually a psychotherapist, or at least she claimed to have been a psychotherapist for the state. Yeah. Let's add that to the mix, okay? So she comes in and she's saying that there's some kind of a problem. I'm like, I don't know anything about no problem, okay? I'm just here to have fun, you know. Let's go sing karaoke, and, you know. So we go into this bar, and then she comes up with some kind of ridiculous thing, and she tells me, "Let's go out and talk," okay? So we go out to the front part of the bar. We're standing out in the alley, and she's lecturing me about something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was ridiculous. I mean, and I'm saying, you know, we've been standing out here for a good 15 minutes while your roommate's in there, you know, I don't know, singing karaoke by herself. And, you know, I didn't come here to stand in an alley to be lectured to. I don't get what all of this is about. So she was making everything really heavy-handed, and I was like, I don't get it. I mean, I'm not your client, so why are you treating me like one? I hope I was a friend, but she was treating me like a client, and I said, yeah, okay, whatever you want, just to shut her up. So we go back inside, and there was this. She was trying to keep me from talking to the roommate for whatever reason. She was driving a wedge. Later on, she meets this other chick online. Okay. And this other chick falls madly in love with her because I guess she love bombed her, and I really felt bad for her. Then I felt bad for her because I felt there's something really weird about this chick, and I wish I wanted to tell her that, but of course she was under the spell of the narcissist. And she was her flying monkey at that point. It did not take long. I was really surprised in retrospect now, thinking about it. It didn't take long at all. And when that happened, she did the same deal to her as she did to me. So what happened was the last time I ever saw this woman was she had invited me. She wanted to go out to the bars again and do bar hopping, and the new chick was going to come with us, as well as the roommate was going to come with us, and then me, a little question mark here. And so we had 1, 2, 3, 4 people, right? Okay. So the two of these two are her flying monkeys, and she's thinking that I'm her flying monkey too, but I'm not. I'm just trying to figure this chick out. I don't get it. And so we're in the bar, and she does the same thing with the new supply. And she takes her out. She says, you know what, we have to go out and talk. Again, right? And so she takes the new supply out into the alley, and she's lecturing her out there. And like the way she did me. The same routine. And I started to talk to the roommate. Okay. The roommate was like the sweetest young woman ever. I mean, she wasn't a very attractive chick, but she was, she was very sweet, and we hit it off, actually. And she bought me a drink, and we were just chatting, and we sang some karaoke, and we were having fun, and then all of a sudden, the narcissist comes in. They come back in. We're singing a few songs, and then didn't take long, really. She says, "Oh, I'm tired. Let's go to another bar." And what happened was, she didn't initially. By the way, let me backtrack a little bit. The night that she called me to go out for this little party that we were having at the bar, she had an epileptic seizure, the narcissist, okay? She had epilepsy. And by the way, narcissists will play it up, okay? If they have some kind of condition, they will play it up, okay, to get that sympathy going, Anyways, so the new supply was, oh, my poor baby, And I'm sitting here going, yeah. But anyways, she calls me up after she has an epileptic seizure, and she says, you know what, I want to go out with you guys, and because she wants to go out. She blamed it on me that she wanted to go out. Okay, so she calls me up and she says, no, we're going out. I know you wanted to go out, and I'm not going to disappoint you. And it's like, I didn't really want to go out. I just wanted to hang out with some friends, and at the time she was the only kind of friend, question mark, that was around. So, and it was an opportunity to get out. So I told her, you know what, if you don't feel well, then please don't bother. We can go out another time. She said, no, she's insisting, she, no, we need to go out. I promised you we were going to go out. We need to go out, okay? Don't worry about me. I'm fine. Okay, they do that crap. But so the flying monkey, her new supply, is so worried. She's so worried about her. you know. And she gets on the phone and she starts talking to me, and she goes, she says, she's not well, And I said, that's fine. You don't have to go. I don't need to go out tonight. I'm fine with it. Okay. Thank you. Don't worry about it. We'll go out another time. But nope. She grabs the phone again. The narcissist grabs the phone again, and she gets back on the phone with me, and she says, no, I mean it, really. We need to go out. Come on. Don't worry about it. I'm fine now. Don't worry about it, okay? And so I said, okay, fine. I'll meet you at the place, and da-da-da-da. So we meet actually at the same bar. And then, as I said, she goes out, she lectures the girl. And I'm talking to the roommate. I'm hitting it off with her. Then, okay, this is where it happens. She wants to do bar hopping. The narcissist wants to do bar hopping. She wants to continue on. And she runs out into the night. And there's an alley, right? And she's saying, I don't remember exactly what it was that happened here, but she runs out into around the corner and down the street, and everybody's following her. The new supply's following her. Her roommate is following her, and I'm like kind of left behind. But I'm like, she's my ride, so I follow her too. But I'm watching these two, okay, and how they are following her like she's like this little toddler who's having a hissy fit. Literally, this woman was like in her beginning 30s or something, and she was acting like a 3-year-old. And she ran down the street, and everybody has to follow her because she's having emotional problems, And I follow, but I had enough at that point, because I see there's something seriously wrong with this chick, and these two idiots are following her down the street, trying to talk her out, talking sense to her. We have to talk sense, right? Yeah, she knows what sense there is. She knows that she's playing those two. I can see it because my eyes weren't blinded to the fact that there was a game going on. I had just gotten out of a relationship with my ex. My ex played me too. But anyways, at that point, I decided I wasn't going to deal with her anymore, and I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll catch a cab home. Thank you. And so she stands up and she goes, no, look, you see what happened? You see, you guys, you insulted my friend, and she's, we're gonna take you home. Don't worry, we're gonna take you home, okay? And I'm like, don't worry, I don't live that far away, Don't worry, I'll either take a cab or I'll catch a bus or I'll walk. No, don't worry about it. No, she's insisting, No, we'll take you there. Come on. Hang in there with us, And I'm like, I don't remember exactly, because this is so long ago, whether I actually did hang in there or not. I did. Actually, I did. Yeah, I did. So I said, okay, fine. And so it says, yeah, let's go to another bar. So I couldn't take any more, though. So I just said, you know what, it's late. I have to go to work tomorrow. Why don't can you just drop me off and you guys can go to another bar? And she says, oh, really? Oh, she's all disappointed and everything. So we get in the car, and the new supply is bummed out because of whatever kind of fight she was having with the narcissist, okay? She was all upset and everything. And I was sitting in the back seat with the girl, with the new supply. The roommate was sitting in the front passenger seat, and the narcissist was driving. So as we left, I just said, I think I said something to the new supply, but in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have said anything, because she felt that I was making an advance at her or something like that. And no, that wasn't the case. I kind of just felt sorry for her that she was going to be put through the ringer, that the narcissist was going to put her through. But she didn't wake up. She was under the spell of the narcissist, So, and I understand she was, she brought her whole family into this, under the spell of this narcissist, by the way. Her family. Yeah, the narcissist, she had to do these surgeries. She had some surgeries that needed to be done, and she was laying in bed, and she was playing it up and telling her lie stories to them to keep them entertained. You know, all that kind of crap. And I just needed to get the hell out of there. And so, you know, it's like I had my own freaking drama. I didn't need any more. Anyways, so I said goodbye to them, and after they dropped me off at my house, and the next day comes, and she calls me up, and she says something about, I don't remember what it was. It was just said something about that I had said something to her, and I think it might have been that the new supply told her that we had been dating. I think that's what it was. But the new supply called me up because she had already moved in with the narcissist. So she called me up, and she says to me, she says that you and her were dating. And I told her, no, we were not dating. We were just hanging out, and I had coffee with her, and that was it. And she says, did you kiss? And I said, no. There was no kissing going on there. We were just buddies, and that was it. Now, what she was trying to do, she was trying to triangulate. This was an example, a wonderful example of triangulation. She was trying to triangulate me with her, you know. It's claiming that I was an old ex-girlfriend or something like that, right? And I was not. We were just buddies hanging out, and that was it. Okay, she wasn't my type, and I told her that. You're not my type, chick, you know. And so she was trying to, but she was playing the narcissist was playing the new supply off me as part of that triangulation. So we'll move her down here as the new target. Okay. Now the old target, who was the roommate, that's another story, because this actually continued on even though I had gone no contact. Yeah, that's another story for another time. But that was a form of triangulation again, okay, between me and the new supply, or the new target. And she called me up. She said, oh, did you guys kiss? I said, no, there was nothing of that. And then so she gives the phone over to the narcissist, and the narcissist said, you know, yeah, I mean, we were dating. I mean, no, wait, I wasn't, no, we weren't dating. Wait, oh, what was it now? Wait, what was it? No, I think it was actually the opposite way. Now I know. Okay, now I'm sorry. It was the same. It was a triangulation, but it wasn't exactly that way. What happened was, she told her that there was nothing between me and her. Okay, this new supply didn't believe her, and which in essence, I guess it kind of was true, that the target, the new supply, didn't believe her, because I remembered later on that initially when we met in a coffee shop, and we were just talking about being buddies and going to movies and stuff, and she sent me an email after that initial meeting that said, you didn't like our date. And my response back to her was, what date? It wasn't a date. It was just coffee. You know, and I was like, she's trying to speed ahead, which is what, again, rushing intimacy is another hallmark of a narcissist, right? And I wasn't about to let her rush me into anything. You know, I just said, it wasn't a date. It was just coffee. You know, but she sent this to me in an email. He says, yeah, no, it was a date. Okay, initially now, and the thing is, though, initially, I asked her that when we were on the initial meeting of the coffee. And I said, this is not a date, right? She goes, no, this is not a date. But her follow-up email to me used the word date in it. Now, so anyways, the target calls me up and tries to put me on the spot, saying, is it true that you and her were lovers at one point? And I said, no. She told you that? And she says, and then she said, what was it now? No, she gave the phone to her, the narcissist, and the narcissist came on and said, narcissist came on and said, see, I told you that we weren't going to be involved, and I said, yeah, I don't have any problem with that. We were not dating, okay? But you said that it was a date, because she had sent me the follow-up email after the coffee saying, you didn't like our date, and when some people could say that meeting for coffee is a form of a date in a sort of in a very casual way. I guess you could say that, but it wasn't how she meant it. Anyways, the narcissist in this case, so I rebuked that whole thing and that drama that was being created here by the narcissist to get her to call me, to chew me out, and what happened was she was trying to get her to turn against me, which wasn't much. I mean, so what? She made her turn against me. Well, for what? I didn't do anything. Which is again another narcissistic BS. But at that point, I just said, I don't really want to get involved in this kind of stuff. And then she gets upset and she says, you know what? Yesterday, after we went to that, I took her home, she had another epileptic seizure. And I told her, I said, well, what does that have to do with me? And she said, yeah, well, we wouldn't have went out because if it wasn't for you. So she blames it on me that we went out, when I told her from the beginning that, if you're not feeling well, don't bother. But she's insisting, the narcissist is insisting to go out. In other words, I have to mother her. I have to be her mama to tell her when not to go out. Okay, I mean, she's a freaking adult. No, but she went on that night, she was acting like a child, a literal toddler. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm not her mama. I'm not her girlfriend. I'm obviously I'm not her friend either. So she was trying to turn she was manipulating the flying monkey here, her new supply, to try and attack me. Okay. That, oh, she's so wonderful, and blah, 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 blah. She plays the sympathy BS. That's what her whole act now. Her whole act was about she was so sick. She had all this kind of condition, and she has that kind of condition, and she has epilepsy, and she has asthma, and she has some kind of lung problem, and, this and that issue, and all this health stuff. And if you try and tell her to take better care of her health, she'll tell you to go buzz off. I'm an adult, and yeah, okay, good, I'm good with it. But she got this chick sucked into that, and she's literally feeding off of this woman's compassion and empathy, and and she's totally oblivious to the fact that she's being used for those things by this vampire. But anyways, I bowed out of that situation because I felt it. I mean, I didn't have a name for it, but the amount of toxicity, the amount of game playing, and the amount of how she was trying to mess with my reality, trying to claim that the roommate was, that I had gave the roommate a dirty look when I know I didn't. I told her, by the way, in the conversation, I said to her, you know what, we never had a date. That first meeting was not a date. And I told you, you're the one who actually used the word date. I brought that up. I turned it back on her, and I brought that up, and I said, you remember the second email? You said our date. You remember the word date? And then she was like, well, you know what I mean. And I'm like, no. You said date. Yeah. First it's not a date, then it is a date. I have it in writing. If you want me to forward that to you, I can do that. And then she didn't have nothing to say. It was funny. But anyways, I left the whole situation at that point. Okay, I went no contact. Now there was a follow-up though, which I will go into in another video when it's appropriate. Okay, based on topic, because she ended up this woman, this particular narcissist, is, I would consider her, if I were to give her a name at all, is as the Black Widow. Okay, literally. Okay, she was a very dangerous woman in the sense that she was able to manipulate people into killing themselves for her. Yeah. So this is an interesting, very interesting story that I'll follow up with in another video, because it's too long here for now. But this is the topic of triangulation. Okay. Now there's another aspect. This is going to go on because there's another form of triangulation that another narcissist that I know was playing, that's even deeper than this one. The one I described to you recently here, and how they can use it for creating wedges between people, getting flying monkeys to attack people, just using people who are walking by, who aren't even in the picture, to use them as a form of stirring up the mess. Those are just how triangulation is used. Triangulation can also is also on some level a game that the narcissist plays with themselves. Now, this is another form of the triangulation model that another narcissist I know uses, and she's used it for years, decades. Okay, decades, yes. And I found out about it. It was funny. I found out about it through a friend who, okay, so this is a totally different story now. They're totally different characters, but same thing, narcissist at the top. Okay, so this chick, she again also was a therapist. I hope you see a pattern here. But anyways, she was a psychotherapist at the time that I knew her. And she was dating this guy that she had met. Let's see. I think she knew him in high school, or at least he was around. She met him early on. She knew him back in the 90s, early 90s. And she also knew his friend. Now, the friend was a friend of his from high school. And I guess he was in college. I think she met him when he was in college. And the friend was not in college, but the friend had gone to the same high school that her boyfriend had gone to. And what happened was the two guys, they were roommates. And while he was in college, and this guy, he was working someplace, I don't remember, but and what happened was she had an affair with him while she was dating him. I wish I had this could write, but 1 and 2. Okay. She was having an affair. She was going with this guy. She was going out with this guy. We'll call him B. Okay, and then we'll call this guy G. And this guy was the roommate, and while he was doing his business at school and earning a living and whatever, she was doing it with the roommate. Okay, she was meeting up with the roommate. Now the roommate was not a good guy at all. I mean, he was a bad boy, a serious bad boy. And there was a recent video that I saw online that talks about that it was almost the same kind of a story of where she was living a double life. Okay, so what happened was after so many she shacked up. After a while, she had shacked up with him alone with B. And this guy, he went off. But she kept in touch with him. Okay. And he went to another state. This G went off to another state. But she kept in touch with him. There was a little fling still going on there, a little torch being held for him, because she liked him better. But he was the better choice, okay? B was the better choice in terms of he was smarter. He wasn't a big rich guy or anything like that, but he was definitely smarter. He wasn't a bad boy like this guy was. Okay? But I guess he was more exciting to her, because since she lived a double life. Anyways, so she kept things going with this guy. Now she had both of these guys under her spell. That's what narcissistic females do. Okay, they're very bewitching, for lack of a better way of putting it, in that they can keep women and men under their spells. And I will do a video on witchcraft and narcissism, by the way, because I've run into that several times. And the funny thing is, the three things that seem to come together regarding that is the narcissism, the fact that they're somehow involved in psychotherapy, and that they're into the witchcraft thing. Okay, I'll go into that in a totally different, because that's a whole mess in itself. But yeah, she was doing some witchcraft things, and she had this guy under her spell. She had this guy under her spell. So there was a triangulation there that had gone on for years, for decades. And it wasn't until maybe around 2011, I believe, when the things started melting down between her and him. And I think he found out that she had a torch for him, for G. And he, so at that point, the whole thing disintegrated, and and B left the picture. He broke up with her, I think, because he found out that she had some kind of relationship, or maybe she was staying in contact with him. But he was a bad boy. He was in another state at the time. He was doing time in prison. Okay, and I think B found out about, this is speculation though, okay, but the timing, the actual actions that happened were consistent with, he had done time, he was doing time, he got out around 2011, and then he came back to the state. Okay, when he came back to the state, she got back with him. Okay, so B was now left the picture, but there was a gap between the time that B and G came in, and she became what is known as a collapsed narcissist. And I will go into that in a totally different video too, okay, what a collapsed narcissist is. But what happens is they start to mentally deteriorate because they're not getting supply. But yeah, so there was a little gap in there, and she went bonkers, seriously. When he came into the picture again, he was, since he's a bad boy, right? He has a bad reputation. But the thing was, he was a convicted felon, so he couldn't get any jobs. Finding a job was not easy for him, particularly when he came back to the state. And so she had money. She was very rich because of her daddy. She that song, "You're a Rich Girl," and that song by Hall & Oates. Well, that's pretty much description of her. Okay, and I'll actually play. One day I'll actually play that song for you. I'll play it myself on a guitar, but because it's so fitting here. She was a rich heiress. She is a rich heiress, basically, and she had a bad boy on the side, because I guess that turned her on, And part of the reason that turned her on was because it was she was rebelling against her narcissistic father. Okay, both of her parents were narcissists, and so she was rebelling against her narcissistic father and her mom. I think the mother kind of knew that he was a bad boy, but But anyways, the fact that she was a crazy bitch, excuse me, sorry, but yeah, the fact that she was a crazy bitch was only part of the, didn't bother him. It didn't bother Mr. Convict here, because, you know, he was just happy to have a place to stay, because he couldn't get a job, and he didn't have any money, and he couldn't get a job. So he can only live off of her, and she let him live off of her because her attitude was, I mean, she's so negative, and she couldn't, when she became a collapsed narcissist, she couldn't work anymore, you know, so she had to retire as being a psychotherapist. So this guy, he was the only one suitable really to deal with her, because he's crazy in his own right. I mean, he's probably some kind of borderline or maybe antisocial. Clearly he's an antisocial if he went to prison, yeah. So you have this antisocial and a narcissist, you know, shacking up together in the father's house and in her parents' house, and she's like this heiress to her father's fortune. And this sucker, I mean, I'm like, when I think about this, I'm like, this chick, you know, I'm like, sister, you know, you realize this guy he's a player, and he's gonna use you for your money. You know what I'm saying? Because I heard stories about this guy. But anyways, that's the way it's kind of being done right now. But the thing is that when you look at it and you step back and you look at how this, he didn't know Mr. B here. Okay, he didn't know about G, because she was triangulating all of this inside her own head. Okay, that was part of a game she was playing in her own mind to entertain herself, in that I can hide G from B. Okay, the triangulation game is in that case is being played with the narcissist inside the narcissist's head. And it wasn't like she was playing him off of him, because she couldn't do that. If he found out, she needed both of them for supply. So B couldn't find out that G was in a, you know, that she had a relationship with G. Okay, she couldn't tell him that, and she couldn't play them off of each other. I seriously doubt that she did. Because I think these two, B and G, were still friends at some point, until B found out that she had a torch for him, for G. And that's where the relationship ended with B. Okay, he found out about it. But the game that was being played in the triangulation was that she needed to make sure that she could hide him, G, from B. That was the game. That was the form of triangulation that was going on in her own head. Okay, the game she was playing with her own self is, how can I hide G from B? Now, this is something I have never heard spoken of online from any of the other narcissistic experts out there. Okay, they usually just talk about the one I talked about before, with the superficial gaslighting and such like that. But there is a game, a version of triangulation that they play with themselves, as a way of entertaining themselves, as a way of controlling others. Because the thing is, she would have had to gaslight B to keep G hidden. Okay, it's a form of gaslighting too. I don't know the tactics that she used specifically, because I wasn't there, but I know her very well, and a friend of mine who went to high school with these two knew that she was dating him. So she told me and this person here, we had met. We didn't go to the same high school, but we had met. We knew each other from that time. It's because all of these people are from my generation anyway, and we all had been going to high school and at different high schools. But I knew somebody who knew her, and who knew him. These two guys too. And I was chatting with her, and I brought her up, and all of a sudden she just starts telling me this interesting story about them. And I'm like, yeah, that's so typical of her. You know, it did not surprise me one iota when she told me this. But yeah, so I just wanted to share this with you about triangulation and how kind of convoluted and complex it is, particularly for the narcissist, and how we can be caught in triangulation. And if you are, by the way, the solution here, if you ever feel that you're being used in a triangulation or some kind of love triangle or whatever, get the hell out. Don't even bother. Seriously. But you'll sometimes meet guys online. I've met a couple guys online who, they hit on me and they'll say, you know what, I'm still in a relationship. I'm separated, but me and my wife are getting divorced, and I'm out dating now, and stuff like that. My response back is basically, you know what, if you're really interested, then you wait until you're divorced. Okay, then you can start something out. This business about being separated and or me and my wife were estranged and the blah 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 blah. And if you don't have the balls to get divorced, then you stay where you are. Okay, I'm not going to get involved as a third party in any of this. I don't need that, because all the energy that I have is being fed into this, and you don't know if he's willing to lie to his wife. He'll lie to you. Don't even bother. So that's my advice to you. If you are in a relationship with a guy who's married, or in that place where he says, well, I'm separated, I'll be getting divorced pretty soon, but it drags on and on and on and on. And, they keep you on the line. And you're like, well, where's the relationship that I was going to get, and they'll just keep you hanging and waste your time and waste your life. So I'm just saying, okay, the situation with that particular narcissistic person was that she was waiting for him, G. Okay, so she was waiting for him, and she was biding her time with B till G showed up. Now the thing about G, though, even though he's an antisocial / narcissist of his own right, he's using her, by the way, and he maybe have convinced himself that he's in love. Maybe he is. Who knows? And maybe she's actually convinced herself that he's, all that there is or whatever. From what I remember, what I saw, anyways, she's a somatic type of a narcissist, and that she's preoccupied with being beautiful, and being sexually attractive to men, and he's kind of like that too. So you got two somatic narcissists are not really that compatible for the long haul. That's another topic I'll go into also. But yeah, so this is just an interesting story that I wanted to share with you about triangulation and how insidious it can be, and how it can literally eat up a great section of your life if you get caught in this type of triangulation, because you're just waiting for the narcissist, and they're triangulating you with their wife or their mistress or whatever else. And yeah, so this is the common kind of cheat scenario going on. Anyways, I'm pretty sure I haven't covered every aspect of how triangulation can be used, but now that you know what triangulation is, and this is something that recently I kind of discovered too, was when I'm in a situation and I feel that somebody is triangulating me, meaning that they're comparing me to someone else or something else, or trying to make me feel bad that I should be doing this or I should be doing that. My antennas go up, and I'm like, could this person be potentially a narcissist? Am I being manipulated? Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but I'll just kind of make a note to myself about it, and that's what I recommend for you too. Not, you don't have to draw a conclusion unless it's incredibly obvious, but do make a note to yourself. Keep a notebook if you have to. But make a note to yourself that something did happen, so that you can go back and you can check on it and say, yeah, I'm very clear that this happened. Anyways, I want to say thank you to my new subscribers again. And if you're new to my channel, I will have more videos about some basic stuff, as well as later on, as I get more subscribers and expand the channel, I will go into more kind of controversial, my own opinions, of course, based on my own experience about certain things that I think people should know about regarding narcissists, about the psychotherapy profession. Anyways, thanks for listening. Please subscribe. Please click on notifications, that little bell over there, and so that you get all my upcoming videos. And I will try my best to create more videos in the upcoming weeks, and to be a little bit more consistent in creating videos, because I know that to grow a channel, you need to kind of be very consistent in making videos. But as I said, YouTube has been suppressing my content on certain topics, not everything, but on certain topics. And before I dip into those topics again, I need to build a bigger following, type of subscribership, so that when I do make those things, it can spread quickly, and it can stay alive. Those videos can stay alive, versus them suppressing things very quickly. Anyways, let's go back to my other screen. I got that. Do I have? There it is. Sorry. Yeah, so triangulation was the topic today, and I will see you guys on another video. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.